always want to start off with what an honor it is to be here representing first and foremost Michigan State and the Big Ten Conference. As we prepared for this game, we know what a great challenge Alabama presents for us, but we feel like we've stepped up to most challenges throughout this season and even previous to this season. But we feel like we've had great preparation, and we're going to need it come Thursday night.
Okay, if you'll put your hands up, we'll get the questions. We'll start there and move to the front, about halfway back in the...
This one's for Jack, J. Sarkar, WLNS 6, Lansing. Jack, Alabama's defensive line, they were in here earlier. They're talking about how they call themselves the Savages, things like that. So two-part question. One, you've already taken on great defensive ends all year. Joey Bosa comes to mind. So how are you looking forward to that? And two, does your guys' offensive line have kind of a nickname like Alabama's does, or is it just kind of do your job type deal?
We're excited to play against Alabama, the defensive line especially. I mean, the big thing for them is how much depth they have. They'll play about 11 defensive linemen throughout the game, which is huge. You don't see that throughout college football. I mean, that's 3D playing. And as of a nickname-wise, no, we don't really have much. I mean, we're all just pretty goofy and weird as it is. But no, I mean, the left side of the line, me and Brian sort of call ourselves the Wolf Pack, but that Jack Allen sort of canceled that one out and didn't want everybody else to be a part of that. So let's just sort of hold it down on the left side.
Anybody else want to comment? Okay, we'll move on to the front.
Jay, earlier in the press conference, a media member asked the Alabama coach about them getting every recruit that they want, which clearly they don't know. There's several of you that had Alabama offers and picked Michigan State, you being one. Would you discuss your decision-making that went into picking Michigan State?
Like I said from earlier, Michigan State was all about a family thing for me. The coach was always 100% during my recruiting process, and this is just where it touched home for me at.
Got a question in the middle, about halfway back.
Question for the Kitty Corps, LJ and Madre. I mean, you're running in high school like yesterday, and here you are in Texas preparing for the Final Four in college football. How overwhelming is this for both of you?
It's a blessing, man. I just try to take everything in, experience everything, but at the same time stay focused and be humble. But like I said, it's a blessing.
Piggyback on what he said, it is a blessing. It's a goal that's been accomplished, was about to be accomplished, and it's just exciting to do it in the playoffs. We always dreamed of being in the playoffs when it came out in order to be in the BCS championship game. So it's just exciting and just to do it for your family, seeing them have them watch you on TV.
Guess that makes you, Gerald. You're the old man. You're the old man of the group right there.
Yeah,
Old man as a sophomore.
Well, I mean, maybe you count Jack Allen as the old man in the running back room.
That's right. He did carry the ball. Forgot about him.
Okay, we got a question in the middle.
For Madre, Rachel Speaker, UT Communication. Speaking of high school, do you recall playing against Eddie Jackson when he played for Boyd Anderson in Florida?
Of course, he bummed us in the playoff game. Well, we ended up winning that game, but I do remember he was playing wide receiver at the time, not safety.
Questions for our student athletes or coach? Got a question on the left, front?
This question is for Jack. Ken Capps with Dave Campbell's Texas Football. You've got 3 freshmen from the state of Texas on your team this year. Talk a little bit about them, and how have you been trying to get those guys acclimated to the great weather in Michigan?
It's always fun to see, especially the freshmen from the South, see the first snow. As a kid growing up in Michigan, I mean, I'm used to it all the time, but they all think they're tough when it starts to get cold. And they're like, 50 degrees. They're like, this isn't bad. And, get ready. It's about to be -0 here pretty quick. Then the first day of snow hits, and, they're walking around in a ton of big jackets and coats. Not real too used to it, but those guys are doing a great job. Coming from Texas, I think the past few years of how we've played, it's allowed us to extend our reach recruiting-wise, and you've seen these Tyler Higbee, Josh Butler and Darryl Stewart. All 3 of those guys are, going to be great players at Michigan State, and you see them really starting to accumulate well with us Northern guys.
We got a question in the middle.
This is for the players. You guys are off to go visit a local children's hospital in a couple hours. Just being able to play the game that you love in college, what does it mean to be able to kind of go and spread some of that goodwill back to kids who are kind of struggling with conditions, things like that? And how does that make you guys feel, just being able to bring a smile to their faces?
It make us feel good. You know, when I was a kid, I wanted to meet those type of players also that was in college. You know, just to see us putting smiles on their faces, just a blessing, really.
I mean, it's crazy to see. You know, we're just some kids too, but we're playing this a sport, and to see these kids who are really fighting a real battle. You know, so excited to see us. It's nuts, and for us to be able to do something like that and make these kids, you know, a day, it's special.
I feel like we do it for the kids, you know. As we play the sport for, like you said, we are kids. You know, we grew up, you know, want to meet guys like us, you know. So being able to be them guys for those kids, you know, is awesome.
Just to take time out of our day, you know what I'm saying, just to go over there and put smiles on their face and everything, you know, is just something special to be a part of.
We got a question here in the front, on the middle, and then we'll move.
Reginald Atula, UTA Communications. This is for Gerald, Madre, and LJ. You guys have developed into quite the running back core. You guys are pretty young as well. What's the relationship like between you guys? Are you guys tight-knit?
These are my brothers, you know. They call me the old head now, I guess. So, you know, we kind of keep everybody on their toes. You know, we grind in our room. You know, back then we brothers and we fighting for a bigger purpose.
Yeah, like he said, we all brothers. We love each other. We all got the same goal in mind, and that's to be playmakers and make it to the next level and win games for the Michigan State. So we all close and we compete together.
His feedback from when they said, you know, we all tight and we support each other through everything. We always pushing one another to work hard, you know what I'm saying, to be better each day, to get better each day. And, you know, we always competing. We always arguing it, you know what I'm saying, some point too. But it's just brothers is what we do.
Question on the aisle.
Dave, I'm going to be the bad guy today. A couple weeks ago, you were asked about your memory of the Alabama game in 11, and you never got a chance to answer that.
No, I didn't. I got cut off.
Yeah, I know you did. So here's your chance, and more than the memory of it, how you've seen this program grow since that game.
We don't want to ask that question. I was kidding around saying you're going to go there. But that's the first game I watched when the semifinal game was announced. That's the first game I went back and watched that bowl game, and it was. I knew that they beat us handily, but until you go back and watch that game, you didn't realize how much they dominated, and they did. They totally dominated us on both sides of the ball and the special teams. But you know, I think we're a totally different football team right now, not just from a personnel standpoint or scheme standpoint, but we're a totally different team from a mental standpoint. And you know, I think we've been through the years, we've been battle tested. We've gone against excellent football teams. So I think it's night and day. Still going to be a great challenge for us, but it's one that I think our guys are confident in as we move forward.
Question on the front.
For you, Coach Warner, prior to the 2011 Camp One Bowl in preparation for it, Nick Saban said this, and you were not the offensive coordinator, but he said, quote, they're stubborn, they're just going to keep trying to establish the run, unquote. You can't win a game like this being one-sided, either passing or throwing. How important is balance come Thursday night?
I think it's important Thursday. I think it's important every week. I mean, I say this all the time, and we're gonna try and establish a run. And if you're able to do that, it might not happen right away. You know, it might take a quarter or 2 quarters for us to get some running game going. But when you're able to get that going, that opens other things up. So we're gonna be stubborn maybe again and try and keep running it in there. But you know, I think we got a quarterback that can do some good things in the pass game as well. So we're going to try and establish a run, but we're going to try and be balanced too. So that's always the trick. Try and find that happy medium. Especially when you got offensive linemen like this always saying, let's run the football, let's run the football, let's run the football. That's all I hear in the headsets from State. And, hey, these guys want to run the football.
Further questions? Remember, there's no one-on-ones. Okay, we got a question in the middle.
This one's for the three running backs. For you guys, you're talking about how it's kind of the three of you are like brothers in the huddle at practice, et cetera. What does it mean to you guys to be able to really have a bar to reach for in the sense that Le'Veon's gone on to have massive success in the pros. Jeremy had himself a solid rookie year. And Gerald, I know you were teammates with Jeremy. So just what's it like having those guys kind of set the standard for you as Michigan State running backs?
That's awesome. They set a standard, so, being, us, the new guys now, we want to work to that standard, and make a new standard for the young guys coming in, so, playing with those guys, just made us better, and still having them in the pros is making us even better, just watching them, perform on a higher level.
We just want to keep the ball rolling. Tremendous running backs came before us, and we wanted to, when we came in after them, we wanted to keep it going. And then when we leave, we want other running backs, younger running backs, keeping it going also.
It's a motivation, it's just something to feed off of, just to get to the level they're at. But at the same time, you gotta stay focused and humble. And, it's just something Michigan State always had, a tradition of running backs and great running backs to run the ball, pound football, and it's something, we will always do.
Question on the front.
2 questions, please. First of all, starting with you, Jack. Clearly, you don't have to throw the ball 50 times to win this game, but you do have to be able to throw downfield. How critical is that, and what are you saying to the offensive line about protecting Connor? And then second question for the 3 running backs. It's been amazing to watch all 3 of you competing for that #1 job, but yet staying and remaining so close, cheering each other on when the others are playing. Would you talk about that tight-knit relationship the 3 of you have after Jack addresses the offensive line?
Well, I think, first of all, it goes back to being able to run the ball. Being able to run the ball sets up the play action. It makes it easier for Connor to throw even when we're just sitting back. It keeps the defense thinking. So I think really it's just focusing in right now on, being able to handle these guys up front, being able to handle their hands. They're real good with their hands. So we've really been focusing on, taking away their hands and getting up to the second level. Because if we can get our running backs one-on-one with their secondary, we know we're going to have a good chance of winning this game.
You mind repeating that question?
All 3 of you at times this year have been the hot hand, and the interesting thing to watch is how the 3 of you, when someone else was getting the carries, have been so supportive. You've been friends, obviously all competing for a limited number of carries. You remain tight-knit. Would you talk about that relationship?
This game is all about brotherhood and winning football games, and building relationships outside of football. We want to just stay close because we all doing our thing. So we want to, like I said, we all got the same goal. So whoever making the play, whoever number is called, we got to make the play. So we just like seeing our brothers making plays to help us win games. So that's all it's about, winning the games.
And it's motivation. When you see your brother, putting in the work, you want to do the same thing. You want to grind with him and have the same success. So I think that keep all of us on our toes on the sideline. We stay in each other's ear to keep balling and pushing forward. So, one person scored a touchdown, we're like, all right, now it's my turn. And I think that's like a fun competition.
Yeah, the key is to stay together, man. You can't be arguing or anything. So that's something that will definitely bring you apart. But the key is to stay together and, remain close.
Question on the outside left.
Jeff Spiegel, ABC 3340 in Birmingham. This is for Dave, and the running backs can answer this too if they want to. But you have quite a contrast in the running games. You have Derrick Henry, who's had 90 carries in the past 2 games, and you have these 3 guys kind of running back by committee. How does that kind of work in your favor that you have 3 guys who are, fresh all the time?
Well, I think you can even throw in Delton Williams there as a 4th guy who's played for us some significant snaps throughout the year. I think it's a plus in certain ways, simply because, as you mentioned, I think we stay fresh. I think we've been through the season. Madre missed a couple games with an injury, but other than that, these guys have stayed healthy. And hopefully at this point in time in the year that these guys are a little bit more healthy than their guys. It's not the ideal situation, as I said, but they've all earned the right to play football here for Michigan State. So we try and give those guys reps.
We'll take a question in the aisle, unless you guys want to comment. On the aisle.
Coach, question for you. Dave, looking and breaking down the game tape, I know you looked at that Ole Miss tape, Ole Miss Bama about 1,000 times probably by now. Where do you see this game coming down? That gap integrity doesn't break. I know you're going to be stubborn, trying to pound. But where do you attack them as far as going to deep ball? They have a problem sometimes in coverages when things get hot down the lanes. There are they've shown that they can be affected in those areas. But the problem for you is keeping Connor upright because of that D-line. Talk about that measurement, what you've weighed, what game tapes you've looked at, that kind of thing, what tendencies you see.
Well, at this point in time, we've seen about every game, certainly every game they played this year and even gone back prior to that. You know, the Ole Miss game, if you look at that, I mean, obviously that was a big victory for Ole Miss, but there were some plays in there that you can't duplicate. You know, the ball bounces off one guy and to Treadwell running down the sideline. You know, plays like that happen throughout the course of a game. But we always use teams that are somewhat similar to us as far as a pro-style attack that we pay more attention to. So we've gone that route, but we've looked at everything and tried to find ways to exploit Alabama, and I'm not sure we found any. I think, you know, you have to, you know, again, try and run the football, but in the pass game, you know, they play great man-to-man coverage and third down as well. You know, they play a little bit of two-man, and they're hard to shake. So our receivers, bottom line is our receivers have to do a great job of beating man coverage in certain situations. You know, first, second down, expect to get more zone, but when it comes down to man coverage, which we've seen a fair amount of this year, our receivers have got to win on the outside, and that's a challenge to them. Just like it's a challenge to Jack and his guys up front to protect, it's a challenge to Connor to find the right guy and put in the money. So we're all going to be challenged out there, but I think in the pass game, for us to put points on the board, we got to win on the outside. Excellent. I mean, he's one of many excellent players they have over there. Again, I think they're very talented, and they do a variety of things. So we got to be ready for a wide variety of coverages. But he's a playmaker. You know, definitely a playmaker.
Got a question on the right.
I'd like Jack and Dave to comment. These three to your left are all kids. I mean, 2 freshmen and a sophomore. What's it like to see them have an impact like they have as young players? And Jack, do you feel like Grandpa up there?
Maybe not quite yet. I mean, still a redshirt junior, but definitely feeling older. The biggest thing for me, I mean, it's just the maturity these guys have shown. I mean, all three of them are huge competitors, and it's frustrating sometimes, you know, when one of them isn't at the hot hand at the time. And it's been impressive with me to see how into it they've stayed, and how no matter what, they're right by the guy who is out there, and, you know, telling them what they see and telling them they're doing a good job, and that's been real impressive to me.
It's been a pleasure from my standpoint to be able to coach them, first of all. They've all done a great job of learning our offense, done so quickly. Obviously, LJ did it, you know, as soon as he got here, basically. But, you know, it's great to have a meeting room with these guys in here, not because they're great players and talented, but what you say about them, what they say about it being a brotherhood and all being brothers isn't just window dressing, it's legit. I mean, they actually are team players first. And yeah, they want to be in there, they want to be carrying the rock, but they're interested in winning football games, and that's what makes it a great group to be able to coach.
Question on the outside left.
This is for Dave, Jack, and LJ. To have a 22-play drive to win the Big Ten championship, what did that say about this football team?
I'll just say something real quick. It was you didn't start off the drive expecting it to be 22 plays in 9 minutes, but you just sort of keep your head down and keep pounding away and thinking about the next play. But these guys, and it's been them, they've done things like that throughout their time here. And Jack's obviously been here longer, but we've put together some pretty good performances, and it's been those guys doing it. So it's something you hold your head high and be proud about, but these guys have gotten it done over and over. So bottom line is it wasn't a big surprise. Happy it happened, but wasn't a big surprise from our standpoint.
I mean, that's what Michigan State football is built upon. We're going to hold the ball and we're going to pound you. And, you know, you didn't see it all the way at the beginning of the Iowa game, but, you know, that's what we do. We wear people down, and we're going to keep pounding. We're going to keep going after you. And you saw that at the end there. We weren't about to give up, and we saw our chance. We knew we had to take advantage of the possession right there, and we took it into our hands and drove it down there, and LJ put it in.
No, it was first off, it was just something special to be a part of, and I like to get all my credit to the linemen. They were pushing the whole entire game, the whole entire last drive. They was just able to take me all the way to get in, and we definitely celebrated after, and we was definitely victorious.
Got time for one final question, right here in the middle.
Dave, this one's specifically for you. One person older than Jack. Game was on this weekend. Kirk Cousins won the division title. You were his quarterback's coach. Just how much do you like that he's playing as well as he is?
Very proud of Kirk, and again, not surprised. But we've had a string of some quarterbacks in our time here at Michigan State that have gone on to some great things. Brian Hoyer's doing well himself, but very proud of Kirk. He's a guy that you expect great things out of him. Things were a little bit up and down there initially, maybe in that situation with the Redskins, but you knew, given the opportunity, like took place at Michigan State, once given the opportunity, able to take the reins and sort of do his deal and given a chance, you felt like he was going to get the job done, and couldn't be any more proud of him right now.